but 25 years since the barbershop window. Take us back. As you're flying through that window, what was going through your head?
A lot of glass, but as I've told before, I mean, in all honesty, Sean, and I'm pretty sure it was a little bit of it on purpose. I mean, because we had a little animosity going on at the time, but that super kick was in there. He did lay it in on everybody. I used to hear about it from all my boys. Damn, well, your partner can't hold back on that kick, can he? I'm not like, why do you say that? And I look at the damn bruise under their chin. But boy, he laid it in on me, and he caught me right up under the chin. You ever see it again? You watch, you'll see me raise right up to my toes before I went down. So I was pretty groggy the time I went through the window. I mean, the part I remember the most was hanging over the little framework. And thinking, oh, damn, we did it. All right, how'd I get here? And pulling back out of it and sitting there trying to get my senses together. Brutus the Barber Beefcake, came over and checked on me and was trying to run Sean off because we didn't know if Sean would keep going or what with it. And, Brutus and I we were good friends anyway, but, after that we bonded pretty well. He's got a book coming out pretty soon, too. Yeah, that'll be a good one. He's explaining to me it's a tell-all, and I'm like, you can tell all you want on me. I'm single and I don't care. I got such a bad reputation with the partying now. You can't hurt me. You can tell all. You can even make shit up if you want. What you did a little bit on one shooter interview I saw, but he's the other guys. I said just be careful of some of them other guys. One of them, and I'm sorry I'm veering from what we were talking about, but I'll get back to it. ADHD kicks in. But, I talked to Scott Steiner, who's a real good friend of mine, that part of the book. I said, hey, Scott, you remember that thing that happened in Orlando? And he just started laughing. He knew what I was talking about. I said, you think it'd be all right to put that in the book? Because that is hilarious, but it's something that nobody would believe. People do that kind of shit. He's like, well, Marty, he goes, if it was anybody else but you, I would say no. We got to be careful these days because the women that we're with, they won't understand. And that's all he needed to say. I'm like, I'm not even going to put it in. Never mind. But he laughed and he goes, yeah, we did some crazy shit. Well, now, in Beefcake's case, if he just goes in, because he's saying it's a tell-all. If he goes in and says some shit, like Scott Steiner did this and that with this and that one, Scott's not the guy you want this off with something like that. And as mad as Scott can get, and I'll tell you a Scott Steiner story in a little bit if we want, if we have time or whatever. But Scott's done a lot of damage over less things. You put some shit about him in a book, don't want to pay your health and life insurance up. He'll go crazy. But back to the barbershop. The big thing, and I got a lot of it in my book, and I don't want to tell too much of it, but shit, I think I've told this in shoot interviews, not meaning to, but did anyway. But the biggest thing about the window was the glass itself. I mean, back then, even as they do now, it was show, so they in front of a live crowd, they will be taped. But the crowd is live right there, and we're doing the barbershop thing. They had thrown me in, with the window thing. I got cut a little bit. No big deal, just a little bit in the head and then a little bit where I was laying on the framing, around my stomach. There was some cuts in there. And, I thought, okay, good. And once we were done and went to the back, the production guy one of the production guys comes running up to me, and he goes, you're okay? I said, yeah. A little, the hardest part of that was Sean's super kick. And he was like, oh, God, I'm so glad. I'm like, why are you so glad? I mean, we could have done a take two if you had another window. And he says, well, that's the thing. We had 3 windows. And so what would have happened if we screwed up, if it didn't go too well? Vince was like, get back out there, do it again. In front of the same live crowd, and that shit's embarrassing. Granted, you're doing it for TV. At that point, again, obviously, taped live, but we'll show later. They had matches go out. The horrible matches with the horrible finishes, they'd send those guys back out and do that same damn match, just get the finish right this time. You know, after a few minutes into the match, the second time, the crowd's like, that crowd there is like, well, what the hell? We just saw this match. They're doing the same thing. What the hell? You know, but so, and then a barbershop window type thing, having to do it a second time with basically the same stuff. It's one thing to do it in a movie studio, but it's another thing to do it in front of 15,000 live people. They're like, the hell's going on? What are they doing? But that's how it works. That's how they do it. And the guy had said, the production dude, he said, well, we had 3 windows. He goes, 2 of them were sugar glass, and then the other one was the regular one for all the time. And I'm like, yeah, I know you had sugar glass. I didn't think that was a real window. He goes, well, that's the thing. That one was real. And I was like, what? He goes, they didn't mark the glasses. There was 3 glasses, and we didn't know which one was the sugar glass and which was real. And, I'm like, well, damn. And he was, he was shaking. He was so scared because he was like, please don't say anything. I said, hey, no harm, no foul. But I said, but damn, couldn't you have told me that? And he was like stuttering on it. I knew he was just scared to death. He thought he was going to lose his job. But luckily it worked out. But now when I watch the barbershop, knowing that, like I say, if you watch it again, you'll see there was a piece that was like coming down to a V shape. It was kind of shaking, and I was still laying through the framework. If that piece would have fell down, it probably would have severed most of my neck. The off, I guess, is severed off. But yeah, it all worked out. But that's the barbershop window deal. And like you said, 25 years later, it's still talked about.